Good morning, beautiful people. Welcome to day 2 of the dopamine fast. I've just spent my first 24 hours without gambling, marijuana, binge tech, binge eating, and pornography, and I'm feeling a lot of different things. I'm gonna take you through it. Day 1 of the dope fast was pretty fun, but the evening was not. As the sun was setting, I was hoping that the time would just pass by quicker so that I could get through kind of the discomfort as quick as possible. Found that my brain was just trying to come up with any excuse and justification to give up on, the task at hand. Smoking before bed is a ritual that I've partaken in nearly every single night since I was 18 years old. And that dependency is physical, mental, and it became spiritual at some point where I really believed that I needed weed to get deep sleep. Without that, habit last night, I found myself tossing and turning. I found myself feeling confused and worried. Will I get any sleep tonight? How will I feel tomorrow? And I was able to finally shut down after some time, tried some breathing exercises, and really started to, just relax my body, relax my mind, and get to sleep. In the past, when I've gone through such withdrawal, even just for one night, I've stayed up till the sun rises on some occasions and not being able to sleep. I think last night the reason why I got decent sleep, not great sleep, was because one, the anticipation was that I'm not gonna smoke and then I'm done smoking. I remember, the tail end of my dream right before I woke up, and it was intense. Luckily, it wasn't scary. There weren't any nightmares last night, but I had dreams of people I hadn't thought about in so long. And then some new faces appear as well. So interactions that felt so real, like I was awake, like they were happening in real time. And I think, that's all part of the process, the lucid dreaming, the sweats and the discomfort rolling around, tossing and turning. But the fact that I did get around 6 hours of sleep, even though it was chopped up in different segments, I'm still pretty happy with. And the theme of day 2, at least during the day, has been imposter syndrome. On one hand, I am a very private person and not somebody who's putting my life and my experiences and emotions on YouTube. But I do understand that, one, this digital diary that's going to hopefully turn into the beginnings of a business is critical. And there's nothing embarrassing about what I'm going through. I think so many people are, and it's important to be open and raw about all these emotions that I'm feeling and experiencing right now. And on the other hand, the fact that I'm actually going through this journey and sitting here in front of a camera, trying to help people get over their addictions when I haven't totally gotten over mine yet. But that imposter syndrome is there to challenge you. It's there to tell you, hey, why don't you quit? Why don't you play small again? Why don't you just go back into the shadows? And 99.999% of the time, we all listen to that voice because we want to go back to the comfort. We want to go back to the pleasures, that mute, that introspection that says, hey, let's do something big. Let's change the world. Let's change ourselves. And maybe your thoughts aren't that big, but even if you're muting, the small notification of progress, day in and day out, you're never going to start. You're just never going to actually get off the starting line. So the imposter syndrome is definitely real. And, I do know that it's just my brain playing tricks on me, because we can all be whoever we want to be in this world and in this life. And that is the beauty of it. It all stems from belief. And so my belief isn't there yet, but I can close my eyes at night and see the end result of the fantasy of who I want to become. And the more work that I put behind that, the more faith that I put behind that through, learning, which is another thing that a lot of people have. It's not just about work, but also learning. You can't just brute force your way through things. You have to be mindful, you have to study, and you have to learn new things. So learning new ways to cope with emotions, learning new things about my body are extremely important. And just taking the time away from substances allows me to communicate with my body even better. The funny thing is, well, from a hunger perspective, it makes sense that I haven't been hungry the last couple of days. I've been relying on marijuana for my appetite for so long, but I haven't been thirsty at all. I've drank one bottle of water in almost 48 hours, and even that bottle of water was hard to take down because I wasn't consuming any more, processed foods with a high sodium count. My body was essentially holding on and probably retaining so much water that now that it doesn't have to process all of that nasty garbage, it's able to just hydrate itself with all of the retention and all the water that I've retained over God knows how long a period of time. And I've even seen like my belly get smaller and my face look smaller over the last, almost 48 hours. And why is that? Because I've had extreme amount of inflammation, from all of the nasty foods and habits and alcohol and everything. And stopping that has just given my body a break. It's kind of like what we saw happen with nature during COVID. We saw the rivers and the oceans clean up themselves, and we saw nature start to heal itself because people were inside their homes, no longer destroying nature, and those phenomena exist within us as well, right? Like once we stop hurting ourselves with the pleasures and the addictions, the body starts to clean itself out. There are so many processes within us that allow us to self-heal, but between the foods that we eat and the activities we partake in, we're actively working against those things on a daily basis. So be mindful of what you're consuming. Be mindful of everything that goes in your system. Even if you don't think it's harmful, it could be, right? Corporations are getting very, very sneaky and very, very backdoorsy about how they're delivering pleasure to people, and things that are organic are not really organic. Remember the 80s when corporations were telling you cigarettes were good for your health. I mean, that was a complete farce. I think in today's day and age, what they're pushing with those Zempic is a true tragedy, right? For you to take shortcuts in life to get the results you want is just a complete disaster of an ideology. So the real idea of a dope fast is that there are no shortcuts at all,